G'day everyone, Turbo Tristan here. This is going to be a real short and sweet video. This is my Mrs. Cu2 Honda Accord Euro Luxury. On this car we have done some handling improvements and some power improvements. So let's go over quickly what those are. Firstly, on the engine we have a PLM downpipe from FAH Performance, a high flow 2.5 inch cat, and because we wanted the car to stay as quiet as it was when it was stock, we've put a vibrant resonator in the middle, and the rest of the exhaust is stock. Up front in the engine we have a K&N panel filter, and then we have a Chong Data Tune stage 1 reflash on the ECU. Suspension wise, we have some TN Luxury Master 30mm lowered coils over the factory shocks in the rear, and we've got some KYB SRs in the front. Pirelli tires, Brembo pads and rotors all the way around, and it's just my Mrs. Daily. It's a very nice, luxurious, comfortable car to be in. It's quiet, it's smooth, it does all of those things. However, after she went for a ride in my CL9 Accord, she immediately noticed how good my car hooks around corners. Now that's because I've got the WHITELINE front caster arms, and I've got the WHITELINE rear sway bar, as well as the max speeding rods coilovers. The main difference though is the sway bar. Unfortunately for me, WHITELINE is my go-to brand. It's my go-to product. When I want any car to handle, I use WHITELINE products. However, they don't make a rear sway bar for the Cu2. Now the rear sway bar is this part here. It joins the left suspension with a beam, which is under like a spring tension, to the right suspension. So when you go around corners, any load on this side is evened out onto the other side to make the car stay flat and sit flat in the corners. As you can see, this one is thinner than my finger, which is great. It does the job. This car handles amazingly, but it can always be improved. Being that it's a front wheel drive car, the first thing you want to do to help with turning, cornering, sitting flat in the corners is to stiffen up the rear sway bar of the car, and that's going to help the car sit really flat, turn in better, and just hook around corners without feeling like the back end's going to like roll over and, you know, boat around on you. So that's what we're doing today. How are we going to do that if we don't have a WHITELINE sway bar? Well, luckily for me, ELUSIVE stock hard race products, and we've got a hard race Cu2 rear sway bar. So I'm going to get that out of the box, and I'm going to take that one off the car, and then we're going to put them side by side, show a comparison, see the difference, and we're going to fit up the new one. So that had to be one of the easiest removal jobs that I've done. Tetrising it out of around the exhaust and all that was a little bit tricky. Hopefully I don't scratch up the new one putting it in there, but here they are. Tiny, thick boy. Let's measure them. So the OEM one is 14mm, and the hard race one 19.5mm. Let's say 5mm difference in bar width thickness means that the spring tension in this will be a lot stronger and stiffer. One good thing about it is adjustable. There are two holes there. If we go to the outer hole, we have a longer spring. It's easier to bend. If we go to the next one down, which is only about 7 or 8mm, let's call it a centimeter difference, that increases the spring rate of this exponentially. So huge upgrade just going from one hole to the next. This is my Mrs. Daily Drive, and it's going to be a massive improvement over stock. I don't want it to be too stiff, because then when it rains, if she hooks it into a roundabout as fast as she would in the dry, the back end might slide. We don't want that, so we're just going to be upgrading it to the softest setting, but it's still going to be 20-30% better, stiffer, flatter, all that sort of stuff. I don't know, I'm just making up numbers, but it's going to be a huge improvement. Let's get it on and let's go test it. That was literally the most easiest suspension job I've ever done. The hard race kit comes with the new bolts supplied there, because the old brackets have captive nuts. Undo this with a 14mm and you need an Allen key. Factory, these are 12s. There's a 14 and a 12, and same on the other side. Super easy. The trickiest part is angling the sway bar over the exhaust and getting it up and over each of these lower control arms. I got a couple of small scuffs on it there. Nothing to be concerned about. Rock chips and stuff's going to hit that anyway, but look at that. Absolutely beautiful. From Hard Race and Elusive, let's go take this for a little drive and see how she goes. All right, so we're just going to cruise down to a little test track that I have very close by. It's a sweeper under a railway bridge, through a little chicane, and then through a roundabout. And we'll do a couple of those little tests. Already just driving out of the driveway, which is not too steep, but steep enough to notice. You could tell, eliminated all the flex in the rear end. So it's a bit firmer going on uneven surfaces because the wheels are now evenly spread, the weight distribution. So I'm very excited to see what this does. All right, first little left-right bend here. Nice and flat. We had some traffic. Very flat through that first one. Let's get a couple consistent in a row, left-rights, right-lefts, and see how she goes. All right, third gear downshift. This is a 15 km/h corner. Second. Very flat indeed. And another one. Nice, and then sharp left. My missus is going to notice a really big difference in this, and it's just that little bit extra is all we're looking for. I don't want this car to be too like tail happy in the back. The way you make a front wheel drive car not understeer is by stiffening up the back, and it helps the car turn. We don't want to make the car spin. That would be bad, especially, you know, in the wet. We're in the middle of winter now, and it could rain any day. My missus might not be used to it yet. I don't want to get into a very stiff rear suspension that's going to be slippery and slidey on the road until she's used to it. She's a very good driver, but yeah, you don't want to just get chucked straight in the deep end with that. Little S's. Yeah, it actually makes the front turn in more because there's not as much delay and sway in the back, so it helps with the front steering. We're not going to do anything too crazy today in this test, but I hope you guys understood why we did this, what the benefits are, and hopefully you guys see the value in it. I personally think a sway bar as a first handling mod, so a rear sway bar in a front wheel drive car, is the best money you can spend on making your car handle. Obviously, having some great tires helps a lot with grip and handling. As long as you're not running around on rock hard cheap tires that have no tread on them, if you've got good roadworthy tires, the next best mod you should do is a rear sway bar. For 400 and something bucks, it is the best value for money mod you can do. Yep, lowering your car, coilovers, all that looks cool, but honestly, it's not going to give you the handling that just a rear sway bar is going to give you. So that's going to be it for this video. Let's leave it there. My missus will be very happy. If anyone has any questions, chuck them down in the comments below. I got this sway bar from Elusive Racing here locally in Springvale to me. Yeah, in stock, ready to go. Hit him up, tell him Tristan sent you. If anyone has any questions about my missus' feedback or feedback after, you know, driving the car for a week or two, drop a comment. I'll answer every single one, and see you in the next one. Cheers.